Welcome back, guys. Nick here. This is going to be another Sunday Market Blitz review. So these are all the analyses from last week, and we're going to dive into these and see how they performed based on the analysis that we provided. So let's get right into it. I'll start off with some chart review here. So this is Angelo's analysis. This is what he gave us last week from Sunday, March 13th to the week of this Friday, the 18th. Okay, so we put these out on Sunday. Obviously, the week's done, so we're going to see how they did. First pair that Angelo analyzed was NU here. Let's just refer to what he has down here in the description real quick. On the weekly time frame, we can see we had huge rejection of 0.69 level as expected. Last week closed bearish with very little wick to the downside. We're expecting further downside movement. On this one, the next level of support is near 0.674. Okay, so we're expecting this break to kind of follow through. Maybe we're going to see some sort of retest, as this analysis was suggesting, and then we'd see a lower high with further downside movement towards this support level here, 0.674. Okay, let's see how this played out. Okay, and it did exactly that, right? It pushed a little bit lower. We saw some wicks. It came back up, didn't retest to the area of this broken structure. That would have been pretty ideal, like 10 out of 10 if it did that, and then continued lower. But overall, the bias was right. Right, it did drop, it did hit support, and then from there, it reacted at support bullishly and sent price action back towards the higher resistance at 0.69. So good analysis here on NU. Definitely was pretty accurate in terms of the direction. So let's move over to GU. Okay, this one was looking bearish as well. You can see that we had a pretty steep decline here. We broke massive support levels, and we also established another level right here, just below 1.32. Looks like Angelo was expecting some sort of retest because this looked like it was a bit overextended. Let's refer to what he wrote down here in the description. On the monthly time frame, we can clearly see that we are within two ranges of price action. The 1.4 level is our major resistance, and the 1.273 level is our major support. Last week we had a large sell-off. That's what this is here to the downside, which will most likely be followed by some sort of retracement. So he's not wrong. He's right? When you see a large impulse move, the most natural thing for the market is to catch some sort of retest. We want to see structure, because once a pair is just kind of moving in one direction, there's not much that you can do with it. You need it to, kind of have that breather, pull back, catch those, those next structure forming lower highs. So let's see how this played out. Okay, so it's pulling back now. So it looks like it's following trade path 1 here, where it's retesting this minor resistance level, just below 1.32. And that's right near the 38.2 level. So this could be an area where we form structure and then head lower. We'll be seeing this probably play out this week. But for trade path 1 here, it's following so far. Right, the retracement's there, and now we just need it to kind of follow through. So good analysis here on GU. Thank you, Angelo. Let's move over to UCAD. Okay, this one, huge range off the bat. We can see that. Key resistance up there, key support down there, near 126. And then tons and tons of ranging throughout. So let's drop down, see what Angelo wrote. On the weekly time frame, we can see that price is just consolidating between 1.29 level and 1.26 level. It's likely that we will see a reversal back into the lower level from here, but just be aware that we are trading within a range. So he's 100% right. There's more risk when trading a range because, once it does finally break, if the higher time frame chooses its direction, it could just blow the cap off this thing. So it always helps to try and line up, if you're going to trade ranges, line up ranges with the overall trend as best as possible. Now from here, we definitely rejected off resistance pretty hard. We've been falling with pretty good bearish momentum, good bearish volume. Let's see how it played out. Okay, so it pushed up a little bit more. One more attempt from the bulls. They failed, and then the bears stepped in and drove price action all the way down towards 126. Great analysis, and then the direction was spot on. Right, we didn't exactly test this level here, 127, where we were expecting some sort of lower high. That would have been ideal. Obviously, that didn't happen. It pushed up, came down, and then it tested with a huge wick, and then dropped. So this would have been a quick opportunity trade. There could have been some, execution on this on a lower time frame. You'd have to get a look, but very small window of opportunity. This thing just dumped. But great analysis here as well. So that's UCAD. Let's jump over to GJ. This one was also pretty bearish. We had just broken a key level here at 154. You guys can see that. This was a pretty significant break. We had an attempt 1, attempt 2, attempt 3, and then finally it followed through. So we hit a low down here around 151. Price action's pulling back. We're expecting some sort of reaction. Lower high here, I'm assuming. Let's see what Angelo wrote. This pair is in a very similar position to last week. We're in a retracement on the weekly time frame after a huge fall off. Price is looking to reach 154 level, which is a previous higher low point. Interesting, right? So here's that little description there. And then on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we just formed a higher low point, so price will most likely continue to be bullish until we reach the resistance level at 154. Please refrain from taking long unless they are higher low points. Okay, so let's see how this played out. Okay, so it failed to give us any reaction here. Instead, it broke above 154, and now we're getting some higher lows above. But, I mean, this thing really just pushed through this level effortlessly and shot all the way back up to 157. So there will be a new analysis on this tonight. This is probably a higher time frame move. So when we cover this on the Sunday Market Blitz, Angelo will have 2 new trade paths, and we'll cover this in depth. So this is actually the first one that didn't play out for a trade path, but all the others have been good so far. Let's jump over to the next one, which is NAS 100. And this one was kind of mid-trade already, if you can see. Very bearish. We had just saw a transition of this level here. Let's call it 13,700. Okay, so we broke below that, tested once, tested again, tested a third time, and now here comes the conviction. Let's see what Angelo wrote. This pair is still respecting the analysis from last week. Our idea remains the same. Okay, so we're expecting this to keep falling, find any sort of lower highs below, this minor broken structure, this little higher low right there, and this would be a nice short opportunity. So let's see how it played out. Okay, so it dropped a little bit more. It didn't get to the final target. Honestly, it was very, very close. Very, very close. Only a few pips away on NAS here. So obviously it dumped, hit a low, and then came right back. It rocketed through this lower high, retested. So now it's newly bullish on this 4-hour, but this is going to require new analysis. So we'll take a look at that later tonight. But overall, pretty good. There would have been a lot of profit on this trade, and you would have had opportunity to exit. Opportunity to clip the trade based on buy signals, which is not what we want to see, obviously, right? So there's an engulfing here. You would start considering exiting on that, maybe on this bullish variation, and so on. But great analysis there on NAS 100. Let's jump over to BTC. This is the last one from Angelo, and this is kind of a broader view. We're here on the weekly. We can see that price actions hit this high area of around 65 a couple times, and then we know that this 30,000 level is kind of our last stand of support, right? Because if price action drops below 30K, it could drop a little bit. So we're really looking for positive, bullish reactions off of these levels. So let's just read real quick what Angelo has written. On this pair, let's focus mainly on the weekly time frame. We have 3 key levels that we are looking at. The 40,000 level, which is where we currently are, is in an area of support which signaled an entry in the form of a 10% plus weekly candle close on January 31st, 2022. We have entered a position here with our targets being 100K. If price does manage to fall to the 26,000, we will exit this trade and look to re-enter at the 20,000 level. So that's a great strategy. I mean, there's a lot of information here. There's some serious gems in here. Talking a little bit about risk management, how, if it does break these levels and it does go to move lower, we're going to clip our losses, re-enter at a lower price, and then, recover profit on the next bullish run, on the next rally. So we are here on the weekly. We're not expecting too much movement, but let's play it forward and see where we're at. So we are seeing a little bit of rejection off this level, which is a good sign. But we're going to need to see a lot more. A couple more 10% candles off this level would really lead us in the right direction. Would give us confidence that there's conviction here and could be seeing the next rally. We'll see. Will this consolidate as well? It's possible, but we're just going to keep following the TA, following what price action tells us. Okay, so quick recap. This is Angelo's analysis. He covered NU, GU, UCAD, GJ, NAS 100, and BTC. Great analysis from him. We're going to cover this again on the Sunday Market Blitz. He'll have brand new analysis for you guys, and that will be tonight, every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, let's jump over to my charts, my analysis real quick, and see how we did this past week. So let's start off with DXY. Okay, overall we were very bullish. It was very clear that we had a nice 4-hour bullish trend here. We had just seen a nice higher low in this pocket, minor level 97.85, and the most likely thing was that price action was going to continue higher. We were going to hit this 100 mark before seeing any reactions, because to me there wasn't really much, resistance here, minor level here, but really there was nothing suggesting that it was going to go bearish, so we couldn't consider it bearish. If it did, we wanted to see this higher low break right here, just at 97.85, catch the lower high below, good conviction to the downside. That would then be enough to consider DXY bearish. So let's see how we did this week. Okay, so it pushed up, kind of met this prior high and failed. Volume kind of died off here. It started trickling down, and then price action dropped down towards 97.85. So it's still technically bullish. We didn't break this higher low yet. I'm going to have to reanalyze this and show you guys what my thinking is behind this. But generally, this trade path 2 is still valid, and then I'm going to draw in a new bullish trade path that's going to highlight, structure points, what we want to see to gain more confidence in the dollar continuing higher. So that's where we're at right now. Really not too much happened in that past week, so we'll have a lot to say about this tonight. Okay, let's jump over to AU. Same thing, very bullish here on AU 4-hour. Key level was 0.73. We had seen that we've been reacting off this level quite a bit. The most likely thing was that we're going to get another test of this higher low and push back up towards 0.74. Now, if this support level failed, we're looking for a lower high below, and then we could start considering shorts, maybe start targeting down towards 0.72, maybe below, depending on reactions, and so on. So let's see how this played out. Okay, this thing actually dropped right to 0.74. Right, tested this level, and then it bounced off this level with huge momentum. There would have been an entry opportunity in here, but very small window. You would have had to been stalking this pretty closely. But if you did get in, obviously this would have been a great trade off the low to the high, about 200 pips on that 0.74 to 0.72 to 0.74, about 200 pips on that rally right there. So that's huge for AU. Okay, just something to note. But a little more volume than we would have expected. I would have liked a little more clean structure, but we're gonna have to reanalyze this. It looks like this thing went for trade path 2 and then ended up just pushing higher with trade path 1. So not much else to say on AU other than we'll take a look at it tonight. Let's jump over to AJ. This one was looking really good. Overall, pretty bullish. Okay, we had a nice period of consolidation down here. Right, 83.25 resistance. We finally broke it. Got a quick little retest. Continued higher. Got what looked like to be a flag pattern, and then the continuation breaking through 85 resistance. So the most likely thing here was we wanted to continue bullish, and we wanted to see a higher low, nice structure forming point, and then we could enter on that, target towards the next level of resistance, which is 87. Now, if we failed to get a higher low above 85, we're looking for a lower high below 85, meaning price action falls, pulls back, retest, and then drops from there, and we would target lower support levels. So let's see how this played out. And this one was probably the cleanest trade from this past analysis. So look what happened, right? We got the higher low, boom, it rejected. There's a nice engulfing there, and then there's some minor confirmation entry candles here as well. Great trade. I mean, you can see the risk reward is there. We would have targeted 85. Again, it's another 200 pips difference right there. Obviously, it exceeded it. This was a textbook trade. Classic, break, retest, continuation. We had a pattern. Things were looking good on AJ. So definitely went with trade path 1. We'll have to reanalyze this and hopefully come up with a new trade idea and spot something early for this next week. So that's AJ. Let's jump over to UJ. UJ was really low on the list because it was so overextended. I kind of knew this already. We had a ton of consolidation here, right at this 115 level, and then price action finally broke to the upside, gave us a minor retest, this little wick here, and then it took off. So from here, there's really no entries. We're overextended. We haven't seen structure form since we really established this new high. So we really wanted to see it come back. Hit 38.2 at the very least, 61.8 would be more comfortable for us. It puts us in a better area of confluence. So let's just play it forward, see how it played out. Okay, this thing kept chugging. I mean, this was no surprise, right? This thing just pushed all the way up towards 119 pretty much. Now, it does look like it's kind of, losing some steam here. I'd like to see some consolidation, then a nice pullback, get into some normal, more normal conditions, more normal structure. Because right now, there's not much you can do with this. This thing is so overextended. I mean, what's the pips on this? We're at 115 to 119. That's 400 pips on UJ. I mean, if you bought this, good for you. That is one hell of a trade. But if you're trying to find trades on this, there's nothing there. I'll just tell you now, There was nothing present this past week on this unless you were already in. So we'll reanalyze, come up with, 2 new trade scenarios for this week. I'm honestly going to just hope for some consolidation and some nice, clean plays for structure. So we'll get to that. But yeah, UJ's low on the list. Nothing really going on there. Just crazy volume. So let's jump over to EJ, see what's been happening here. So this one was interesting because I wasn't really sure where this was going to go last Sunday, and there was definite potential for either direction. Okay, so let's start off here. On the 4-hour, we were clearly bearish. We had a huge fall off of price action here that actually broke 126.5, our monthly. We hit a low down here around 125, and then price action pulled back. So from here, it looked like an inverse head and shoulders, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then 129 would be the neckline, which is also a pretty major psychological level and resistance area for us now. So if price action broke above this, we needed a higher low above 129 to consider it bullish. Then we would be comfortable taking longs into key resistance levels. However, if this inverse head and shoulders failed to play out, we didn't see a break of this neckline and a push higher, we would have waited for price action to drop a little bit. And for me, I wanted to see a lower high below 126.5. Because if it dropped just to this support level, we could, further consolidate. We could range. It could just prolong, our trade, which is not what we want. We want to enter on the real entry, which in my opinion would have been here, right? Break of 126.5, lower high below, enter short, catch a nice risk reward trade that way. So let's play this forward to see how it played out. So this inverse head and shoulders did play out. The neckline broke, price action moved higher, failed to give us a retest, but still played out, and we rallied all the way to 131.5, key resistance up here. So we're really close to the weekly now. I'm probably going to get some higher time frame analysis done on this first and then present to you guys a new 4-hour analysis regarding this weekly. So we'll see. I mean, it's a bit overextended now. We're going to need to see a lot at EJ for this next week to try and spot some trades. But yeah, this thing played out pretty good. Inverse head and shoulders. How many pips are we up on this right now? Just about 300. So guys, I mean, a lot of movement out of last week, right? And, just from doing, the small group webinars and talking to some of you guys, it's been a tough week when there's a lot of movement, a lot of volume. There's less trades on the table. There's obviously, less entry opportunities because some things are just kind of rallying or this volume is off the board, so you can't really make a trade comfortably. So sometimes, less is more. If it's a tough trading week, it's better to just, calm down, take less trades, if any. Don't take any losses, that's for sure, and then move on to the next week. Because, that's kind of how things go. Things will be super crazy one week, then they'll calm down for 1 week. Maybe we'll get some consolidation. Then the next week we'll get some more normal movement, and that's where we can really capitalize. Okay, but when you see a lot of speculation and, a high impact week, there's not too much you can do. Okay, so it's okay, guys. You can be patient. Not every week is going to be amazing. So let's wrap it up with gold here. Overall, we were pretty bullish. We know we did hit almost an all-time high, 2070, which was about $4 short of prior all-time high from a couple of years ago, which is pretty wild. We rallied all the way to that. Obviously speculatively driven, but we'll take it, right? We rallied into that, and then we saw the opposite of EJ. We saw an actual head and shoulders, a normal one. Left shoulder here. This would be the head. This would be the right shoulder with a neckline. Now, I wasn't going to choose which direction it was going to go in, even though we were seeing the head and shoulders, and that's strongly suggesting a reversal. I want to wait, because I've seen head and shoulders fail. I've seen lots of fake outs, so we want to wait for real structure. So that means a break of the neckline with a retest of a lower high to go short, or a break of resistance around 2010 with a higher low above. That would give us a lot of confidence in continuing either shorting or buying. Okay, but pretty much as it was between 1975 and 2010, I wasn't that interested. Needed to see one of those break first. So let's see how it played out. Okay, it broke bearishly, so the head and shoulders did play out. We didn't get a lower high right below 1975. There would have been a small opportunity to enter on some conviction candles right in here. But again, very small window. So it did dump from there. It did hit 1930. Now we're consolidating a little bit. It looks like it tried to break it, but couldn't. And now we're trying to, find support here in 1930. We'll see. I'll have to reanalyze this, throw some reverse fibs on this actually, and see where we're headed next. Most likely, a little bit lower to some stable levels around 1875. As we can see to the left, that's where our next target is if this is going to continue bearish. So yeah, quick recap: covered gold, EJ, UJ, AJ, AU, and DXY. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's all from March 13th, last week. Pretty good, pretty crazy week. I'm assuming this week is going to be much better. Looking forward to it already. So make sure to join the Sunday Market Blitz. Again, guys, it's every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We drop the links in Discord, Telegram. Get in. You guys could kind of get insight as to what we're looking at, how we're dicing up the charts, and then just overall engage. So, guys, take care. I'll see you on the Sunday Market Blitz. Peace.